On a typical day, you go to your office for work and you connect your laptop to the domain. And what happens? You start browsing the internet and communicating to your other colleagues using chat. What if I told you without downloading any files, not clicking any links, not executing any files, you could still get compromised? Yes, it is possible. It is possible if there is another colleague of yours sitting inside the organization or the network with a little evil intention. Yes, it is possible. Let me help you understand the attack called the DHCP attack. DHCP attack stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Before I start to talk a little more about DHCP attack, let me help you understand how two computers in this world communicate. Computer A, computer B, they communicate using IP addresses. Hence, if A has to communicate only to B, it has to have a unique IP address. Both A and B has to have a unique IP address. Only then the request can go properly to B and response can come properly to A. Isn't it? Excellent. Who issues IP addresses to us? Right? I have an iPad, I have a laptop, I have a PC. Who issues IP addresses which are unique in nature to our devices? Very simple. When we talk about the global internet perspective, we are issued IP addresses by our respective internet services provider like Jio, Airtel, Vodafone, etc. Right? On the contradictory, when you're inside an organization, who issues you an IP address? Obviously, when I say you are inside an organization, it is a private IP address. When I say private IP address, it is issued by the organization. Meaning, you have a gateway inside the organization or you have a router inside the organization which is responsible for issuing you a particular IP address. Right, which is unique in nature, which is only limited to the private network. All right, let me help you understand. Say my system is issued a private IP address and I am able to communicate to another system which also has a private IP address, right? Who issues this IP address? Or as I told you, it is issued by the DNS gateway or the router. Right, both of them run a particular service called the DHCP service. Okay, what happens in this service is this service issues IP address to any computer that connects to the network. Am I clear? The DHCP service issues dynamic IP address to any computer that connects to the network, obviously authenticated computers. So let me help you understand this a little better. I want you to assume a scenario where you have a Windows machine and you have an IP address issued by the DHCP server called 1.1.1.1. Assume you have another VM installed in your machine. Another VM. So you have three VMs installed. VM 1 has Windows 10, VM 2 has Windows 10, Windows 3 has Windows 10. Each of them are issued separate IP address. Say for example 1.1.1.2, 1.1.1.3 and 1.1.1.4. Right? Okay, now what if I told you there's a host OS over which there are three guest OS and each of them are issued an IP address? What if I told you there are very small and interesting scripts that I could run on my machine to create multiple interfaces? Let me help you understand. When I'm saying there is a host OS and multiple guest OS, each of these guest OS obviously to have access to the internet should have a network interface, right? If you notice, usually you find Ethernet or Wi-Fi 01, Wi-Fi 02, etc. as multiple interfaces. Likewise, when there are multiple VM machines running, you will probably see interfaces like VMNet 01, VMNet 02, VMNet 03, etc. Which means that there is a network interface that is virtually getting created and the DHCP server is issuing IP address considering it is connected on a bridged network. Okay. Now, talking a little more about it. Each of this network interfaces are issued an IP address, right? What if I told you I can write a small little script which will create or spin hundreds of network interfaces within my computer? And what happens every time there is an interface created, it is going to do a DHCP discover request to the DHCP server and it is going to issue a particular IP address as a response back to the newly spinned network interface. So I can spin hundreds of network interfaces and start eating up a lot of IP addresses, and what actually happens is I deplete all the IP addresses possible that this network pool can issue. So anyone who is really authenticating a legitimate user connecting to this network will not be getting an IP address. This attack is called the DHCP Starvation Attack, and hence, since he is not getting an IP address, he is not able to connect to the network. And this is a attack which targets on a DOS perspective. When I say DOS, I'm talking about denial of service perspective. Authenticated user, right, who has the right username password, who is authorized to access the network, is not given access to the network, and hence this attack is a very easy, commonly used attack called the DHCP Starvation Attack. So for more tips and tricks, do consider subscribing and follow me.